Dirtle Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Dirtle Magic. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like the content you see here today, and leave a like and share the video with someone you might think is interested. Leaving those likes really helps us out, but another way to help us out is by using our TCG Player affiliate link below. If you're looking for singles, sealed product, or gaming accessories, please consider using our link to support the channel. We also have some playmats at inkgaming.com. Go ahead and hit the link in the description to check those out. Alright, let's grab some spells and dirtle with some magic. Hello and welcome back to Dirtle Magic. Today we're playing some Piru the Volatile. Looking at our opening hand, we have tons of ramp, which is kind of good, and Athreos. I'll risk keeping it. Hopefully we'll draw something other than lands this game. Did play a game the other day, and a lot of lands, so we'll see how it goes. Our commander is Piru the Volatile, 2 red, red, white, white, black, black for a legendary 7/7 Elder Dragon. Flying lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this unless you pay red, white, black. When it dies, it deals 7 damage to each non-legendary creature. Our first opponent is Barrowin of Clan Undur. I think I'm pronouncing all that correctly. 2 white, black for legendary dwarf cleric, 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, venture into a dungeon. Whenever it attacks, return up to 1 creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield if you've completed the dungeon. I do like this card. I don't like that I have to have extra cards to use it though. Comes to our turn, we are first, we get Battlefield Forge. Cool, I guess. Let's play Spectator Seeding and pass it off. Our second opponent is Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons, black-green for a legendary 2/2 human cleric. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Whenever you put one or more of those counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. Mistfall Plains into play for Barrowin. And our last opponent is Mathas, Fiend Seeker. Red, white, black for a legendary 3/3 Vampire Menace. At the beginning of your end step, put a bounty counter on target creature and opponent controls. For as long as that creature has a bounty counter on it, it has. When this creature dies, each opponent draws a card and gains 2 life. Snow-covered Forest into play for Hapatra. Mathas sees a Mana Confluence followed by Soul's Attendant. Our turn gives us Boral Signet. Okay then, let's go ahead and play the Mountain and get down a Rakdos Signet. And we'll pass it off there. Barrowin's turn, Plains followed by Dranith Magistrate. Ooh, don't like that at all. To Hapatra's turn, it's Golgari Signet. Mathas with Dark Confidant. We have an attack. It's the Soul Sister off into us. That's a sad face. Damage is good. We're down to 39. Our turn sees a Sacred Foundry. Yeah, we're getting all those lands again. Okay, let's go ahead. Rakdos Signet out a Boros Signet. Then we'll do Dragon Skull Summit. And I suppose at this point we'll summon Athreos. And we'll pass it there. Over to Barrowin's turn. If they do complete a dungeon and keep getting Dranith Magistrate back, that is a little bit of a problem for us, although I do tend to recur Piru more than recast it because it costs so much. They play Cloister Gargoyle. When there's the battlefield, venture into a dungeon. As long as you've completed a dungeon, it gets 3/0. There's a dungeon, Tomb of Annihilation. Okay. So they could potentially have, what's that black legend? You don't get to keep them unless you complete Tomb of Annihilation. Let's see. Each player loses 1 life, and then they can either go to Oblette or Veil of Fear's Pardon. Each player loses 2 life unless they discard a card. Discard a card and sacrifice a creature, an artifact, and a land. To Hapatra's turn, let's see if they can do anything about the Dranith Magistrate. Hapatra is fairly reliant on their commander to be on the battlefield. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but to get things going as quickly as possible, you really want her down. Hapatra with a Forest followed by Blood Artist. And then a Contagion Clasp. Unfortunately can't get rid of the Magistrate, but what can you do? They do get rid of the Dark Confidant. Blood Artist triggered. They drained 1 life from Mathas. Mathas back down to 40. The Hapatra player back up to 40. We stay at 38 thanks to the ping of 1 damage and 1 life loss from the dungeon. Mathas with a Blood Crypt. We have Fracture. Let's see where it's going. Over to the Contagion. Another attack. Sister off into us again. We'll go down to 37. Hey, we get something other than land. We get D-Spark. Unfortunately, still can't take care of the Dranith Magistrate. Let's play Sacred Foundry, have it come into play, tapped, no reason to really do anything, and nothing to do, so let's pass it off. We have an attack, Magistrate off into the Hapatra player. I doubt they're going to block. Blood Artist is usually more valuable than that, and it is only 1 damage. They do not, they are down to 39 for Hapatra. And no land drop for the Barrowin player, that works for me. Although I do hope they get to stay in the game and get that land drop eventually. We have Skin Render coming to the battlefield for Hapatra. Nice. Hopefully that'll get the Draft Magistrate going. You know, to the graveyard would be, appreciated. We have some triggers, let's see where they go. Soul's Lieutenant will trigger, and Draft Magistrate is going to kick the can. Hallelujah. Oh, we have Stonecloaker on a rescue mission. Nice. I do really like that card. It does in fact return the Magistrate. Skin Render will unfortunately get fizzled. Too bad. To Mathas' turn, we have Mathas Fiendseeker coming down. We also play to try him. Soul Sister back into our face again. We're going down to 36. End of turn, Mathas Fiendseeker triggers for the first time this game. Stonecloaker is going to get a bounty placed on its head, neck, wings, whatever. Comes our turn, we get Vault of the Archangel, another land. Okay. Let's go Temple of the False God. And we might as well get down our commander while we can. Piru the Volatile. Unfortunately, it likes legendary creatures. Well, let's pass it off. Barrowin's turn, Stonecloaker straight to the attacks. It's off into the Mathas player. Damage is good, Mathas down to 39. To Hapatra's turn, we have another snow-covered forest into play. They will summon their commander, I wager. The Barrowin player, again, didn't play another land and not a black source either. And their dungeon is still only on the entrance, I guess you could say. So, I am somewhat worried that they just won't be able to play the game as intended for them. Although it does give us an opportunity to not, get magistrated. Hapatra's turn sees Flourishing Defenses. Whenever they put a -1/-1 counter on a creature, you may create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. That'll be a lot of elves if they get a Black Sun Zenith going. I am surprised they didn't summon their commander, but I guess they don't really need to just yet. To Mathas' turn, there's a Marsh Flats into play, followed by a Ghostly Prison. That's alright. I figure we'll start attacking them anyway. Potentially the Barrowin player would also be really bad, especially the removal is black, but as long as it's not Exile, Piru would trigger, so I'm not too worried about it just yet. Mathas on the attack into us? No, it's going off into Barrowin. That works for me. Damage is good. Barrowin down to 36, up to 3 commander from Mathas. And at end of turn, we have another trigger. Piru is going to get a bounty on her head. To our turn, Piru will trigger for the first time this game. I'm actually going to keep her around and pay it for now. Okay, did try to use the signets to pay for it. Magic Unwind wouldn't let me, so I don't know what that's about. Okay, and we get a mountain for the turn. Not the best. Let's play Battlefield Forge. And let's go to attacks. We'll attack into the Mathas player. We'll pay the 2 to declare the attack. Damage is good. They're down to 32, up to 7 commander. We gain 7 life to 43. Pass it off. Barrowin straight through the turn. No land drops, no attacks. Interesting. They do still have 7 cards in hand. They just discard a Vampire Hexmage earlier. Over to Hapatra's turn, we see a snow-covered swamp come into play. 3 cards in hand for them. Summon their commander, possibly get a 1/1 Karen down on something with something in their hand and make an elf. Hapatra looks like a lot of the wind's been knocked out of their sails, but we don't know what's in their hand, so that is always somewhat dangerous. Mathas at 3 cards in hand. They're doing okay. I imagine they'll crack the flats at the end of Hapatra's turn. Hapatra plays Necropotence. Okay. End of turn, they get all those nifty cards. Marsh Flats is in fact cracked at the end of the turn. Mathas' turn with City of Brass. Let's see what they'll attack this time. I imagine into us since everyone else has some blockers up. Yep, off into us. We'll be taking 4 plus 3 commander. We go down to 39, up to 3 commander. City of Brass is getting tapped for mana. It deals 1 damage to them. Elspeth, Sun's Champion. Nice. Everything's going to get the blown up. Okay, in that case, let's go ahead and get ourselves a D-Spark on Elspeth. We have a response on Barrowin, it's Ghostway. So what this does is essentially does the same thing as Eerie Interlude, except you don't get to choose targets, it just does each creature they control. So they get to hide in a pocket dimension. We'll put Piru back in the command zone. Unfortunately, it doesn't stack where Athreos gets to do their thing first. Always a sad face. Let's go ahead and see if they want to pay the life anyway, because things can be confusing. And we'll stack out our Piru triggers. Blood Artist will hit us for 1, that's a sad face. A number of creatures die, 3 specifically. We gain 21 life, and Blood Artist triggers 3 times. I assume we'll be hit for all of them. And we are. Our opponents each drew a card and gained 2 life. Sad face. They pay the 3 life to keep it in the command zone, I suppose. That works out. End of turn, Ghost will bring their stuff back. Stonecloaker will trigger, and they'll also be able to venture into a dungeon. Oh, and Mathas quits the game. I will check the chat. Nothing about Mathas saying anything, so hopefully it wasn't an emergency. Tomb of Annihilation, let's see where they go. It looks like, yep, a Veils of Fear. Each player loses 2 lives unless they discard a card. We can lose some life, that's fine. Into the graveyard, we have Dusk to Dawn. Gotta keep a lookout for that. To our turn, we get Combustible Gearhulk. That's not too bad. Don't know that I want to use it right now. Let's get down our commander again and do that. Our commander back to the battlefield, let's pass it off. Barrowin's turn with a Soul Ring, unfortunately no black source for them still. I am glad they're sticking into the game though, some people do tend to quit this early when they don't get what they want. Seems to be doing alright though. I also do apologize for the background noise, my neighbors are trimming down some of their overgrown trees. Unfortunately nothing I can do about that. Dranath Magistrate coming back down, that's a sad face. Ranger's Hawk coming down, tap another untapped creature you control, venture into the dungeons. Activate only as a sorcery. We got a Bog, there's some black mana. Comes into play tap, but it's better than nothing. Let's see who they'll Bog. It's Hapatra. Stonecloaker on the attack into Hapatra, there we go. Damage is good, Hapatra back down to 38, it is over to Hapatra's turn. 6 cards in hand after the draw. Hapatra unable to be summoned, Bayou into play. We have Toxic Deluge for 7. That sucks because Piru is just going to die without any real effects. We will put her back in the command zone, she will cost 12 now. Unfortunately, we just aren't drawing any other real recursion. Hapatra is down to 31. They did not pay the life this time for Athreos. Hapatra Vizier of Poison's down for that player. Followed by a Skull Clamp. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. Skull Clamp is being equipped to their commander. She is a 3-1. To the end step, Necropotence was used 4 times. They're down to 27. Our turn gives us a Blood Crypt. Need something other than lands deck. Come on now. We'll put it into play tapped. Let's do the Gearhulk. We'll target the Hapatra player. Let's see what they give us. They'll let it get milled. They're down to 17. They took 10. Let's pass it off. They milled the Priest of Fell Rites. I did want to use that. I also love the artwork. Ascent of the Worthy, which is a card I rather like in here. And Clackbridge Troll. Just a favorite pet card of mine. Barrowin's turn sees a Plains into play. Will they summon their commander? They do get to venture into the dungeon when it enters the battlefield. Cloister Gargoyle coming back down. They get to venture again anyway. And still have enough mana for their commander. To the Sandfall Cell, each player loses 2 life unless they sacrifice a creature, artifact, or land. We'll lose 2 life. We are down to 52. Hapatra also loses 2 life, down to 15. Barrowin of Clan Undur comes down. Again, let me know in the comments if I'm mispronouncing that. D&D is not my strong suit. They get to the end of the dungeon. Cradle of the Death God. Create... Oh, I didn't get to see. They get to create this, though. The Atropal. 4/4 Death Touch. Over to Hapatra. I am glad that Barrowin finally got to do something. It kind of sucks when you, especially when you have a new deck, and you're fairly certain it'll work out, and it just kind of says, nope, not today. So I am glad they're back into the game here. We have Zulaport Cutthroat for Hapatra. That'll be really, really bad if they get those snakes going. Not to mention the elves. Followed by Decimator Beetle. There's the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on a creature you control. That means they'll get a snake. It'll be on itself, it'll become a 3/4. Forcing Defenses triggers for the first time this game, they get an elf. Skull Clamp to the elf, they'll draw 2 cards. Zulaport Cutthroat will also trigger. Hapatra up to 16, we're down to 51, Barrowin to 35. End of turn, Necropotence was used once, they'll draw 1 card. Our turn sees Hoffrey Ghostforge. Haven't gotten to test this one yet. So, do we want to do that or Piru? Did put a mountain into play there. I think let's go ahead and do Piru. Get that set up again. Go to attacks. Pressure the Hapatra player. And we'll do Hoffrey Ghostforge the next turn. They intercept with a snake. Nothing we can do about that. It simply dies. We are down to 50. Hapatra up to 16. 34 for Barrowin. Let's pass it off. Marsh Flats into play for Barrowin on their turn. They give it the crack. Scrubland into play. We have Path to Exile on Piru. That is a sad face. We will get a land out of it, sure. Let's get a Plains. We'll put her back in the command zone. Probably summon her the next turn, too. Barrowin is on the attack. When it attacks, return up to 1 target creature card with a CMC or MV 3 or less. Could be a Dranath Magistrate. Not looking forward to that. It is Dranath Magistrate. Unfortunate. Let's see where it's going. It's off into us. No surprises there. We'll be taking 3. We are down to 47, up to 3 commander damage from Barrowin. It didn't change because we were also hit by Mathas. Hapatra's turn sees Demonic Tutor. Uh-oh. A lot of mana tapping on Hapatra's side. I don't think it'll be the Zenith, but it could be. Let's wait and see. We have Incremental Blight. Okay, up to 1 neg counter on 1 creature, 2 for another, 3 for the third. Let's see, we get 3 on ours. That's a sad face. 1 will be put on the Barrowin and 2 onto the Cloister Gargoyle. We have a number of triggers. Hapatra does say 1 or more. The Flourishing Defenses doesn't care though. Skull Clamp onto Hapatra. Full attack with everything able. Decimator Beetle triggers. I imagine they'll be coming at us. They are. Sad face. Combustible Gear Hulk will get a little bit weaker. Another Snake and another Elf for Hapatra. We go down to 38. That's unfortunate. Hapatra will trigger though. -1/-1 counter to something else. It'll be the Combustible Gear Hulk. That's fine with me. More Snakes and Elves. We get Erebos Bleak Hearted. Okay. Sack Outlet. Nice. Let's play Mountain. And let's play Hoffrey Ghost Forge. Let's play Erebos. We'll get rid of the Zulaport Cutthroat and sacrifice the Gear Hulk. We paid the 2 life to draw. It's Angrath the Flame Chained. They paid their 3 life to keep it in the graveyard. That's nice. We will exile it and make another token of it anyway. We get a Gear Hulk trigger. Let's pick Hapatra. They let us draw. It's the Mad Compass, the Eldest Reborn, and Whip of Erebos. And Zulaport finally dies. It will trigger 1 more time. Let's go ahead and play at the Mad Compass and pass off the turn. End of turn, the Mad Compass will become the Spires of Orazca. Over to Barrowin's turn, we have a Core Haven to play. I do like that land myself. Unfortunately, it only prevents from 1 source and only combat, so it doesn't work against burn and things, but for the low price of 2, it's still a pretty good land. Barrowin on the attack. They get to recur something. Ranger's Hawk if they want to start going back through dungeons. I guess they could bounce the Cloister and do it again that way. Nope, it's Ranger's Hawk. Let's see where Barrowin's going. It's off into Hapatra. We have a Snake on the intercept against Barrowin. Barrowin hits the graveyard. I imagine it'll go back to the command zone. The Snake is dead. Looks like they just want to recast their commander. They were saying block to the Hapatra player. It's Barrowin of Clan Undur coming back down for that player. Time to go raid. Dungeon of the Mad Mage. When you venture into this room, you gain 1 life. Let's check out the rest of it. Scry 1. Then you get a treasure token, or target creature can't attack until your next turn. Then you get Scry 2. Exile the top 2 cards of your library, then play them for 1 room. Then you get create 2 1/1 Black Skeleton creature tokens for the next room. Scry 3. And finally, draw 3 cards and reveal them. You may cast 1 of them without paying its mana cost. To Hapatra's turn, 6 cards in hand after the draw. Bunches of mana, tons of token swarm. Let's see what's happening. Beastmaster Ascension. Oh no. That's not good. Triumph of the Hordes as well. Yeah, I think that's game. Used to have a Hapatra deck myself. It is one of my more favorite Golgari commanders. The problem is, every time I played the deck or saw the deck, this is basically what it does. And I do like some randomness in my games, personally. But it is a good deck. Skull Clamp 2, the Decimator Beetle. Looks like we have basically a full attack with everything except Hapatra. Beastmaster Essential will give everything 5/5. That's not an issue here. Decimator Beetle is going to trigger. Let's see where everything's going. I imagine it'll be lethal all around here. Decimator Beetle will be putting a -1/-1 counter on our Combustible Gear Hulk. That sucks. Oh well. I was hoping we could kill at least one thing going the way out. They get a Snake and an Elf. Alright, now let's see where everything's going. We're taking the first grouping. The other player's taking the second grouping. Not much we can do here, but we might as well do something. And we'll just take the rest. Even if we blocked, they have Trample and Infect, we'd be taking at least 14 Infect out of these 4 tokens here. Ooh, we have Core Haven being activated. Okay. Just for reasons, let's go ahead and block. Barrowin is also going to attempt to intercept some other things. Unfortunately, they are not long for the world either. It's too bad neither one of us had a Dawn Charm or a Holy Day or something akin to that. And there it is. Look at all those triggers. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Barrowin player because they stayed in there even though they didn't get black mana for a long time. And the deck, I haven't seen it before. New commander, pretty interesting. Let's see, we are at 17 infection and they're at 36. Yeah, that's quite a victory there. Here's Hapatra's hand. Yeah, I ran Grave Pact too. Got kind of boring in my opinion. The rest of it's fine. I mean, Hapatra doing Infect is one way to win. Then you also have Aristocrats and it has some kind of control elements. So it is an interesting hybrid deck. It just does play the same way every time because it has just enough support and they haven't printed too much extra. So if you do want a decently strong Golgari deck that isn't Graveyard Recursion, she's a good option. And there it is. 3 to the Barrowin player, 1 to us, 1 to the Hapatra player. Let's go ahead and take a look at the deck. Okay, here's the deck. It's hitting a lot of different notes at the moment because I was trying out a number of other things. We do have 38 lanes in the deck. Usually I start my deck builds with 37. But a lot of the land drops, getting all those land drops, it does help out. We do need to draw some more gas though, so I might put some more draw into the deck as it were. Some of the flavor notes we have to consolidate here are Reckoner effects, of which we have 2 or 3 in the deck. I think it's only the 2. We do have Boros Reckoner, and then we also have Mog Fanatic, which I think a lot of people forget about, but it does about the same thing and can hit planeswalkers. Doesn't do creatures, but that's fine. We're not aiming to hit creatures anyway. Piru goes off, Mog Maniac dies, we fling 7 damage at somebody. No big deal. As far as damage goes, we also run Tolroth, God of Fury. The front side, not the back side, really. So whenever a creature or planeswalker and opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, it deals that much damage to any other target or permanent. And that's fine, because if we blow up our own stuff, we just shift all that damage to our opponent's face. Figures it works real well in this deck. We also have Chandra's Ignition because our commander does have lifelink, and we can give lifelink to our guys via Vault of the Archangels or Whip of Erebos. So life gain in this deck, while it's a bit clunky, isn't really a problem or issue. For card draw on that front, we have Well of Lost Dreams. Not too bad. Haven't gotten to test it yet though. In theory, it's going to be great in this deck, but we'll have to wait and see because of that clunkiness. We don't get static effects every turn like you would necessarily with Aristocrats. Like the Zulaport Cutthroat, usually we depend on our commander for such things. Alright, here's the deck so far. We do have some other cards like Vizkopa Guildmage in here, which is probably pretty good. Dagger Necromancer to steal people's stuff. Again, it's kind of like a smattering of a bunch of different effects, and I do like the semi-randomness of it. But it does have to, we need to bring it together, make it a little bit more cohesive, so I'm going to look at doing that for the future games. Anyway, if you saw any cards that you want to purchase for yourself, sealed product, or sleeves or accessories to protect all that glory, please consider using the TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. It helps out the channel and doesn't cost you anything extra. Alright, on to the next game for Piru. Hopefully we can do a little bit better, although summoning an 8-drop commander 2 or 3 times is kind of a achievement in and of itself. Until the next time, stay safe out there.